Hey YouTube, Nova Piper here. Don't know what kind of day it is out. It was beautiful and sunny. Opened the windows, mowed the back lawn, and then it started raining. Now it's sunny again. I think we're going to get some rain. Nice and warm. Apparently it's a bit more warmer than it is in parts of Quebec. Sorry about that. I couldn't help it. Smoking Lorenzetti Constantine. Great! Lorenzetti Constantine straight billiard with some Gabeth and Hogarth Balkan mixture. Unicorn Piper was just asking about it in the chat. He's never had it and wanted to know about the nicotine and stuff, so she's thinking about buying it, so I said, oh, I gotta smoke some now. I love the stuff. Gotta dry some more stuff out. I got some stuff in there that's a little too wet. My new repurposed Tim Hortons cup, and I'm drinking some coffee. I still have some left from the Bean Piper, and there's a lot in here. So I took my two Petersons, not the one I got from Unicorn Piper, but my St. Patrick's Day, and I got my Christmas pipe, and I drilled the draft hole out, made it a bit bigger, and what a difference, man. I just took a drill bit and I stuck it in until it fit. I said, okay, here's the size, whatever it was, and there was a little bit of gunk in there, so I spun it and it kind of reamed a little bit of the, it didn't wear any of the sides away, it just got rid of the sticky goo. And then I took the next size up, and I didn't use a Dremel, doesn't have enough torque, you want to be careful of that. So I used a cordless Makita, and I just went like that, and it was kind of shaking a little bit, but I was just careful, and I made sure I didn't bite into the bowl or anything, so I go a little bit low, go a little bit low. Worked perfect. What an amazing smoke. Bob and Donna Reynolds kept messaging me on YouTube saying, drill it out, drill it out, drill it out. I guess they were getting sick of me complaining about the gurgle. Worked amazing. I smoked some bald-headed teacher last night in the big Christmas pipe, and it barely gurgled at all. All I had to do was go take a big haul, and it sucked it right up. So I smoked some bald-headed teacher I just bought, and then I smoked some 2-year-old bald-headed teacher. It doesn't age well. So that aromatics don't age very well at all. And I'm pretty sure that these Englishes don't really get any better with age either. Virginia. Maybe Burley, I don't know enough about it. So yeah, man, you got a gurgly pipe, drill it out. So this one is a filter, but it has an insert right here, and I always have the insert in, and it kind of restricts the airflow. So this is really hollow. This part here is really hollow. Now I just lit it. I don't usually do this, but because I just lit it, it's still warm yet. So there's where you can see where that goes in there. And that's kind of got a big hollow space in there, so it's not a regular tenon. Looks pretty fragile. So I'm going to see how this smokes. I don't like pulling this pipe apart. Because this is a gurgler. I got a little Dagner blue collar poker. I'm going to drill that out too. So at Amazon this morning, I'm getting in all kinds of crazy shit. Microcontrollers and programming them and stuff. So here's what I've been playing with lately. This thing here, making guitar pedals and shit. And one of these is this is called a Raspberry Pi. It's a single board computer. This is an old one. This is called Model 1B. It has there's the processor and the RAM. That's like a controller chip for the USB and the network and stuff. It's got 2 USB ports, 10100 Ethernet. It has VGA, and it has sound right there. And there's this is what I use for hard drive. Just an SD card. That's the power, micro USB, and HDMI out. This is a 700 or 800 megahertz processor. It has 512 megs of RAM. The cool thing about it, right here you can plug in like a camera that they make for it and something else, but the cool thing about it is these right here, these pins. And this is what I'm running. This is running Linux. No problem. Works great. I flash the card and then I put a different Linux on it and I just make images and load it up and all that. Getting a couple of cards. This thing right here, these row pins, that's called a GPIO, or a general purpose input output. And what they are is I can write a Python script, it's like a programming language. I can write a script and tell this to send a signal. Like some of these pins, they're all predefined. Some of them are ground, some of them are well, I think one is a 5 volt, one's a 3.3 volt, and some of them are programmable, so I can change what they do. Some of them are used for transferring data. I can send and receive data on these. So that's what that little thing was yesterday, a breadboard. So I connect wires to these pins, plug it into the breadboard, and then right now all I'm doing is making it control LEDs. So I can say, like, do this with it and do that with it, or put a little switch on it and say, if I push the switch, turn this LED on. If I push this switch, turn that LED on. And it sounds pretty simple, and it is. It's pretty basic. I'm not an engineer. I'm not an electrical engineer, but yet, you know, I can go on the internet with one of these. These boards are like 25, 30 bucks. I have a whole kit with the card and the case. I got the top off. A card and the case, the power supply, and they're like $50, man. So I got the newest one on the way. It might be a clone because it comes from China. This is a real Raspberry Pi because it's got the logo on it. So I got a new one coming from China because I'm going to use this for my arcade cabinet when I build it. And I want the other one to play with. So today I bought, I can't pronounce it, an Arduino or something like that, which is basically a programmable microcontroller card. And you have to plug it into a computer. I can plug it USB, plug it into USB. I can plug it into this, I can plug it into a Windows machine. And then you just open up this little program and you write scripts, and then you load those programs onto the chip itself and get it to do stuff. And you can get the pins to do things. It has pins. And you can get these pins to do different things, like control a servo. So I can write a script. I can turn a potentiometer and make it turn a servo, so the servo would just go like that. Instead of it, not a motor, not spinning, but just go to there, to that position, to that position. And things like that. Why, you ask? Why not? This is what I do. I remember when the iPod first came out, I had like a 3rd or 4th gen iPod. So I put Linux on it. Why? Because I can. I have a router, I have a wireless router in there, and most people buy them, plug them in, turn them on, and the Linux screen comes up or whatever, and they do whatever. Not me. I take it and I put Linux on it. I flash it and put Linux on it. So my router's running Linux. I can log in, run commands and do stuff. That's what I do. Anyway, something else I'm into. These things are cool as shit. Little tiny computers, and they're dirt cheap. Just think, years ago you used to have to spend hundreds or $1,000s for something like that. And it's open source, which means it's not proprietary. I can go out and get the diagrams for those, print my own circuit boards, buy all the parts, build my own. So I think that's what I did. The one I just bought from China, it was pretty cheap. It was a whole kit, and it was pretty cheap. So that one might be a clone. However, the only difference is where that's made in the UK and the Chinese ones are made in China, so they're a lot cheaper. The parts are all the same. Like, all these components still come from China, India, Malaysia, Taiwan, which is still China, depending who you ask. So all these components all come from the same places. Only certain places make them. I just put a big order in for a whole bunch of little components. And it was all, the duty with all that was already paid for. But if I bought it from an American company, they send you a list. And it says the country of origin for every part. So, all these resistors are from Indonesia. These capacitors are from China. Things like that. It's cheap manufacturing costs, so when they build these in China and Malaysia, the manpower is cheap, so that way it's the exact same product. It's a clone. So that Arduino board or whatever it's called, I know for a fact that's a clone. And I Googled it. People say, yeah, it's a clone. It's not made in Italy like the other ones are. Open source. Open source is good, so that means you don't have to guess at it. They have the pattern, they have the recipe to make it. Alright, let's talk pipes. Pipes are good. Pipes are cool. Chicks who smoke pipes are cool chicks. Yeah, I said chicks, that's right. I'm not politically correct, and I don't give a shit. If you're offended, you don't watch, right? Pipes are cool. We got fucking serious grain. So yeah, I'm going to try this pipe now without that adapter in there, see what the airflow is like. See if I get a better draw. No condensation, no gurgle. And that's what I'm going to start doing now, is drilling out my pipes. It was a little scary. Try it with a cheap pipe. Use a drill. You need that stability and you need that torque. Dremel will just fly out of your hand and it has no torque. So if you do it, use a drill. And I don't mean, use it. I had it on screwdriver setting, right? So I could go slow. It was more than fast enough to do what I had to do. Because you're not drilling right through it, you're just shaving a little bit off the sides, and that little bit made a difference. Common sense. Give it a try. Send your pipes to me for $99.95 Australian dollars. $59.99 shipping. Italian lira. I will do it for you. Yes, I will. And I don't guarantee my work, so. And you may not get your pipe back, depending on how cool it is. Good, hey? Yeah, geez, I mowed the back lawn today. Last year I didn't mow it at all. My backyard's not that big, but I have an empty lot. So I've only got about 3 meters to the property line from my bottom step. I got a little strip of lawn that's probably 3 meters worth of lawn, and it's 80 feet. Not quite 80 because I don't do on the edges. And then I got this big empty lot in the backyard, 50 by 100 feet. And nobody uses it. I just get to look at it. But last year I didn't mow the lawn because my tenants' kids had it fucking ruined from running around on it. As soon as the weather would get nice and they'd get their 15 dogs out there, all inbred. And so the lawn wouldn't grow, and it gets shaded here, so there's not enough sun. So I let it go fallow last year. So this year it was the first time I mowed it. Here it is, June. And instead of the mower, I just brought the whippersnipper out. Holy shit, man, them things burn the gas. Little 2 strokes. It's hard to believe how much juice they go through. Mine's just a little one. A little 25cc, 50-to-1 mix. And they just sound cool. I remember we used to drive the dirt bikes, man. Back the motocross bikes, all the 2 strokes. And you just ying, 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 and they've got that, what they call the power band. All of a sudden you hit the throttle, you gradually hit the throttle, and all of a sudden it just, like your torque goes like this, jumps right up. And even in a little chainsaw or something like that, it does the same thing. It's like it has an off and an on setting. You guys that drive 2-stroke dirt bikes know exactly what I mean. Hit that throttle, all of a sudden power band kicks in, and man, snap. So I have fun playing with 2 strokes. Anyway, so Unicorn Piper. If you're watching, get some of this Balkan mixture. It's good stuff. Man, if I had some extra, I'd send it to you, but I just opened a can. Did I need it? Yeah, this draw seems pretty good. Haven't gurgled yet. If you got some gurgly pipes, don't be afraid to drill them out. Or for a very low cost of whatever I just said, I'll do it for you. That's about it for today. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see ya.